Hello again, everyone. Good morning. I wanted to share a devotional thought with you today. As we think about these times that we are living in, it is a lot of us are struggling. There's ups and downs. Work is more chaotic for many of us. Finances are tight for many of us. There's just so much going on in our world that can be stressful and difficult to manage and deal with. And yet I think it's an amazing opportunity to cling to our faith, to cling to Jesus, to search the scriptures and to search our own hearts on how we might respond. One passage that has become a comfort to me over these months is taken from Lamentations. And so I want to share a little bit of background to it before we look at it. It's a pretty famous passage. You probably heard it before, but isn't it incredible, first of all, that we have a biblical book called Lamentations that's full of lament for the way things are in the world. Maybe you remember that the book was written after the fall of Jerusalem, when many of the people were taken to Babylon to be exiled. They were taken from their homeland, their temple, their place of worship, kind of like our church. It was destroyed, and their city was destroyed, and they were taken away. Here is what one commentator says about the book of Lamentations. Lamentations is a confronting book, showing us the seriousness of rebellion against God. It spares no detail in revealing the radical sinfulness of sin and its awful consequences, but it also points beyond itself to the mercy of God and of the new covenant in Christ, who despite everything fulfills God's promises to his people, wayward though they are. For ultimately this biblical book must be seen as Christ's cry from the cross, as he suffers from the sins Lamentations mourns. So we can mourn, we can cry out to God, we can lament. The Bible shows us that. We don't have to kind of just sit back and take it. We can take some of the frustration that we feel and even the anger that we feel. It's a very angry time for many of us, and we can bring it to God. Lamentations shows us that. The Psalms show us that. We can bring our laments to God, and he hears them. And when we engage with God, when we share with him, when we listen to him, we're reminded of the big picture. And that's where this text comes home for me, is that 2020 is not the whole story. It's certainly not the whole story of eternity. It's not the whole story of my life or your life or the life of Park Lane Church. The promises of God are that he is going to use whatever adversity comes our way for his glory. And he is going to teach us. He's going to walk with us through it. He's going to reveal himself to us, and he's going to use it. So in the middle of Lamentations, in chapter 3, it says this: "Remember my affliction and my wanderings, the wormwood and the gall." Jesus talked about that too, of course. "My soul continually remembers it and is bowed down within me. But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him." So maybe you want to sing that song this morning, "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases." Or maybe you want to sing that wonderful hymn, "Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father." Because we have a Father that is walking with us through this, no matter what we're feeling, no matter what we're experiencing. And it's just like when you are watching Netflix and you hit pause and then you see the whole movie come by and you can fast forward it or rewind, whatever. This is just a slice. This is just a slice of our story. And God has a huge, huge story for his people that goes from eternity past to eternity future. And that's what we are going to cling to today. And this week, we are going to look to the steadfast love of the Lord, and we are going to proclaim, "Great is your faithfulness, O God."